Okay, different evening everybody. So we are now on our week 5, specifically the first topic for this midterm, the review of related literature. Normally, the review of related literature on previous formats or research formats, this is the chapter 2 of your study. Chapter 2. However, with the current modifications or formats of research, the review of related literature is um, mixed or placed together with your introduction. Okay? So instead of submitting chapter 1 as introduction, chapter 2 for the related literature, and chapter 3 for the methods, we will only have 2 chapters. Chapter 1, introduction and related literature, chapter 2 for the methods. So for tonight's objectives, we have the following. After the lesson, students shall be able to use the previous notes on related literatures to decide on references to use. We also have to decide on references appropriate to the study, arrange literature according to the needs of the problem, apply proper citations of related literature, and of course, write the whole related literature. Okay, so to start, why do we need to review related literature? First, this demonstrates your familiarity with the topic and scholarly context. So meaning to say, nabasa mo, aware ka kung ano ang ara ng daan or wala pa sa imong study. Take note, the main purpose of your related literature is to avoid duplication. Okay? Avoid duplication. But there was this joke. If you are copying one research, that's duplication. However, if you are copying more than 10 researches, let's say hundreds of researches, and trying to summarize it into one, that's another research. We call that as meta-analysis. Okay. So when we review related literature, we develop a theoretical framework and methodology for your research. Again, theoretical framework and methodology for your research because you cannot build your theoretical framework unless you already have read or understand your related literature. Ano bala ang available na, ano pa ang hindi. While methodology on the other hand is that hindi wala pwedeng mag-ubra-ubra ka lang sa imo methods, dapat may basis ka. That's why you need to review literature as well. Dira mo makita kung anong appropriate nga methods ang pwede mo magamit. Applicable bala ang imo method, standardized bala ang imo method, dira mo man makita sa imo nga review of related literature. Next, you also position yourself in relation to other researchers and theorists. Okay, what do we mean by that? When you position yourself in relation to other researchers and theorists, meaning to say you can corroborate your results. You can use your results and compare it with other results. You corroborate. For example, imo taas, ilagamay, nga. Your related literature can answer that. Tandaan guys ha, hindi nyo pwede ma-discuss ang isa ka theory or ang isa ka reason, isa ka rationale if it is not found on your related literature. Gina-counter check gid ina. So meaning, kung wala sa imo nga related literature, do not place it as a discussion. Pero may alanda siya pinagbabawal na technique. Ano na? Kung wala na sa imo related literature, then dugangi ang related literature mo so that mausar mo siya sa imo nga discussion. Okay? And your related literature would show how your research addresses a gap or contributes to a debate. Dira makita nga worth ang study mo. Nga aman, kay kung may gap, then you can study. Kung wala gap, why study? Kay why man gali gap? Okay? So what are the steps for relevant literature? First, we make a list of keywords. Amo na ba lang nga when you try to publish your study, may ara gina siya keywords. So we make a list of keywords. Like for example, if I am trying to study about antimicrobial resistance of Neisseria gonorrhea, So ang ako na nga keywords would be Neisseria gonorrhea, that's one. Antimicrobial resistance, that's one. Or perhaps kung diin nga lugar. Philippines perhaps, Asia perhaps. Keywords. Okay? Next, search for relevant sources. So you have there your research journals, your books, and your lectures. Mamangkot ka mo, Sir, we understand nga ang research journals, we can use that as a references. Yes. Relevant source, yes. Books, yes. Lectures, actually the correct answer is yes. Pwede mo magamit or masite ang lecture. Conferences, pwede mo man masite. Ang hindi lang galing nami sa lectures sa conference is that wala ka pruweba kung diin mo siya ginkuha. Okay? Hindi mo naman nga ang guaya is it's a personal communication. Hindi ta ma-counter check if it really happened, it was really discussed or not because it was just a personal communication. Okay? Wala record ba? Okay? When we say research journal, it's a primary sources. If it's a book, it is a secondary sources. Okay? Primary, secondary. Gets? Okay. Next, step 2. Evaluate and select sources. First, you have to ask some questions. What question or problem is the author addressing? Ano blang iya ginapangita? Ano ang iya nga mga sabat? Okay, that's one. What are the key concepts and how are they defined? What are the key theories, models, and methods? Does the research use established frameworks or take an innovative approach? What are the results and conclusions of the study? How does the publication relate to other literature in the field? Does it confirm, add to, or challenge established knowledge? How does publication contribute to your understanding of the topic? What are its key insights and arguments? What are the strengths and weaknesses of the research? Take note and cite of your sources. In this manner, guys, makita nyo kung ano ang dapat isulat nyo sa inyong paper. Ano ba ang ara? Again, ano ang ara? Ano ang wala? Ano ang ma-provide sa paper? Kay kung may ara na, no need na kamo. Amo na nga permi lang ta, inablang sa proposal niyo, damo-damo, denied nga. Because it's already existing. If it's already existing, nga apa nga obrahon nyo. Correct? Unless of course layo-layo na ang previous data. Pero kung okay lang man ang data hagara na, we can still use that data. Next, identify themes, debates, and gaps. So, these themes, debates, and gaps, dira ka muna pwede kasulod. Because of this debate, because of these gaps, this study is formulated to answer those debates and gaps. So, trends and patterns, like in theory, method, or results, they do certain approaches and become more or less popular over time. That's why you can do another. Parubla sa resistance. Pwede ka nga mag-check sang resistance every locality. Like in Bacolod City versus Iloilo City, amo na. So you might ask, sir nga hindi na lang Negros because hindi tanan-tanan nga hospital may microbiology, Bacolod lang man, di ba? So why take the resistance pattern in Talisay kay waay man to sila? Okay? Next, themes. What questions or concepts recur across the literature? Ano bla permi ang ara? Golpeada bla na dula? Debates, conflicts, and contradictions. Where do sources disagree? Pivotal publications. Are there any influential theories or studies that change the direction of the field? Pakato na bla or hindi? Like for example, we know for a fact that some of our chemical analysis of our body fluids tends to be on your absorption, di ba? Beer's law. The amount absorbed is directly proportional to the amount. Okay? or when we say Beer's law or Beer-Lambert's law, it also states, or it states that the absorbance is proportional or directly proportional to the concentration of the absorbing substance. But hindi na tanan-tanan subong is applicable ang Beer's law. That's why we have other methods as well. Kung cloudy na nga daan ang sample, lain na nga method ang ginaubra. Okay? So, it means it's not applicable to all. It's a gap. It's a debate. That's why we can do another theory that could what do you call that? Replace the Beer's law. Okay? Next, we have the gaps. What is missing from the literature? Are there weaknesses that needs to be addressed? Okay? Next, we outline your structure. So when we outline the structure, it could be chronological. When we say chronological, the earliest to the latest, or from the latest to the earliest. Chronological, meaning to say through time. Majority of the researches, especially in the master's degree or undergraduate, is about thematic, meaning to say may subsections. What do we mean when we say subsections? Nablang may per topic nga ginahatag. What I gave you as an example is a thematic type of outline for your related literature. There is also methodological. When we say methodological, it compares results and methods. So, some of you nga may study about methods or comparing methods, you can use your methodological type of outline. And of course, you have your theoretical such that of your theoretical framework. If hindi amo na kadamo ang study, ang pinakamaobra mo na lang gid would be your theoretical. You personally based it on theories. Wala ka man may komperahan, wala ka man may masundan. Therefore, ang gamiton mo would be the theories. So how do we write the review? Of course, we have the introduction. This should clearly establish the focus and purpose of the literature review. We reiterate the central problem or research question and give a brief summary of the scholarly context. So here, it is emphasized the relevance and importance of your study. Again, relevance and importance of the study. So the body and synthesis of the literature, the body summarized and synthesized the literature you have read and understand. It was analyzed and interpreted, and it is written in a well-structured paragraphs. Guys, think about it ha, may synthesis. So meaning to say, ang synthesis mo sa katapusan nga parts ng imong review literature. And when we say synthesis, that is the summary of your whole related literature. Ang synthesis galapot na siya 1 to 2 paragraphs only nga gina-reiterate lang gid ang what is already given kag ano pa ang kulang, that's why kinanglan mo studyhan. Okay? That's your step 5.